Hey everyone! Last month there have been a lot of discussions about adults reading YA, and I don't really want to go into the discussion what has been said as response to the article and what people think. I'll leave links to a lot of good videos on that topic. What I want to talk to you about today is me as an adult reading YA and what kind of YA I read and how that changed. Because I've left the target group of being a YA reader quite some time ago. But I've always been reading YA, more or less, and in different forms. So let's talk about that. Ever since I started reading books in English, I tended to pick up YA novels. Not really on purpose, but more due to the fact of the stories and also due to the writing. YA novels read faster and easier than adult fiction. That's just a fact. And for a non-native speaker and a language learner, that's much easier to go through. But ever since I'm more proficient and I started studying English and I read a lot of classics and all those things, I still kept going back to YA because I just enjoy the stories. But not all YA. Most of the books I read before booktubing were fantasy or adventure type of books, like the Artemis Fowl books or the Bartimaeus trilogy, and of course Harry Potter, just to name a few. But when I started booktubing, I was introduced to a lot more YA novels that I had never heard of before and might not have picked up otherwise, like The Perks of Being a Wallflower, or The Hunger Games, or Anna and the French Kiss. If you have been following my channel, you know that I have read quite a lot more YA, but I've noticed that there has been a change in the recent years in my taste and understanding what I like in YA. For example, when I read Anna and the French Kiss, I wasn't blown away like everyone else and I was confused for a while. But I started to notice that reading YA, I really have my problem with the contemporary that focuses highly on the romance, because that's just too far away. I cannot really identify with those characters anymore in those situations, and sometimes it just feels silly from my point of view. I do understand why it's attractive for younger adults and younger people, but being almost 40 now, I don't see the attraction anymore. I think I'm also a little bit over the dystopian, but just because there have been so many. I still like some of it, but I can't read as many dystopians as the rest of YA read. But the YA books that I still enjoy reading the most are the fantasy books, because there we have a fantasy world that is not so gruesome and brutal and harsh like for adult fantasy. And I sometimes enjoy that more. I enjoy that it's not so serious and more on the light side. So what it comes down to is that reading YA for me is not a no-go and it's totally acceptable. But I'm just not reading all of the YA variety books. I can pick my choices of the things and topics I like, just as I do with adult fiction. I don't go around reading crime fiction or romance novels for adults, but I still love adult books. Just the same as I don't go picking contemporary novels from the YA section as my favorites. So that's my take on this topic. Tastes change as you grow older. You might still read YA as an adult, but you might read different YA than you read as a teenager. Tell me in comments what you think about this, and I'll see you all tomorrow.